Hi, my name is Hadija Curry, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Sumo Logic, and welcome to our webinar. I'll pass it to Kui for him to introduce himself, and then we can go around the horn.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Kui Jia. I'm the VP of Engineering at Sumo Logic. I lead the core AI team for Sumo. We build a product like a Mob Copilot. Happy to share what we launched from last year.
And Tanner, how about you? You can go next.
Yeah, happy to. Hi, my name's Tanner McRae. I'm a senior applied AI architect here at AWS, and I've been working with Sumo Logic for a little over a year now on Copilot and a couple other of the really cool initiatives that they've been putting together. So happy to be a part of this and happy to
Thank,
talk about Copilot.
thank you for joining us. And Eugene, how about you?
Hey folks, my name's Eugene Kawamoto. I lead the worldwide go-to-market team for Amazon Bedrock at AWS. Been with AWS for 12 years, supporting various different database analytics and AI services. So thank you for inviting us. Super excited to talk today.
Yeah, so Mo Copilot was something that Sumo Logic launched at reInvent last year, and it really is about revolutionizing incident management with AI. And so we just thought we'd bring everybody together and have this wonderful conversation around how it's helping our customers. And so, Kui, let's start with you. So Sumo Logic launched Mo Copilot, and what are some of the things that you're seeing in terms of how it assists our customers in troubleshooting and incident management?
Great question. So why we want to build a AI-powered Mo Copilot? Well, in the today's world, especially for enterprise software world, it typically takes about 30 minutes for SRE to resolve application level incidents, and can take up to 60 minutes for security ops engineer to resolve security incidents. The mean time to resolution, so-called MTTR, is partially driven by the complexity of Sumo Logic query language, compound with the varieties of so-called tribe of domain knowledge or the different technical skill set about application. Put it all together, this becomes a pretty expensive investigation journeys for our users. So Copilot here can help really overcome these challenges by leveraging the power of generative AI and then anticipate the user context and present the relevant insight in plain English that could serve as a starting point for investigation. Alternatively, practitioners who knows how to ask the questions around their logs in natural language, but a little bit struggle with how to use the semantics of Sumo Logic query language is very powerful, but it's also quite complex to learn. And so that we can simply pose the natural language-based questions in plain English, and then let the Copilot respond with automatically generated Sumo queries, and then bring the result back to the user. And then, so this is kind of the starting point why we want to build something like a Copilot.
Yeah.
Well, what a Copilot experience look like? In a natural way, there we offer three type of AI-powered features in a nutshell. First, you can, when you open up the Copilot, the first time based on the source categories or whatever the incident context you pass in, we already come out with a lot of built-in system of insight, which presented in natural language, so people can easily understand what that really means. By picking choose any of them, you are able to bring the result back instantaneously. And alternatively, you can also, in the natural language prompt, you can manually type a natural language, just like you use the GPT today. You can type a natural language questions, and then the Mo Copilot powered by Gen AI are smart enough to figure out the context, the right metadata to put in, and then translate to executable Sumo query language and bring the result back in the right format.
That
Last
is
but not least, we also offer a way to AI-powered autocomplete feature. So when you type the natural language, you can have very much like a Google search kind of experience. It can instantaneously figure out the context and then present the right natural language question for you to pick choose.
Okay, thank you. That was a really nice long answer. And so we'll kind of talk to you, Eugene. I think we built this on AWS Bedrock, and one of the questions everybody had, why did we do that? And so you are here to help us kind of explain to our customers what that all means.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we're super excited that Copilot is running on top of Amazon Bedrock. And really thank you for the collaboration. It's been excellent. So, let me explain a little bit about Bedrock. So Bedrock is a fully managed service that makes it easy to build Gen AI applications. So we provide access to a wide variety of leading foundation models with models like Anthropic, as well as open source models like Meta, Mistral as well. So, in addition to these partner models, we also launched our first party frontier model called Nova during reInvent in December last year. So this is where we really shine in price performance. And while we believe model selection is extremely important, we also want to make sure that it's super easy to access the models through a familiar API. So we provide the Converse API where these models can be accessed through a single API. So every time a new model comes along, you don't have to relearn yourself to understand how it works. But in addition to model selection and access, we also believe we want to make sure that you have the right tooling to build your AI applications, which is most important. So these are things like model customization capabilities with fine-tuning, distillation, custom model import. So we have various different features, but I really did want to touch upon three features that I think are most important. First
Mhm.
is Bedrock agents. So we all know that agentic workflows are becoming extremely important in this world right now. So Bedrock agents is playing a critical role in these type of scenarios where agents can automatically take action on behalf of you based on different scenarios. Another popular tool is Bedrock guardrails. So, one of the most important things for customers right now is security and safety around AI. So this is really something that we take very seriously. And guardrails is a way to provide configurable safeguards to help safely build your AI applications at scale. And finally, I did want to mention that knowledge base is also that's something that's increasingly getting important. So many customers are doing RAG to augment, their prompts with their corporate data. So we provide a fully managed support for end-to-end RAG workflows through knowledge base. So it's not just about data retrieval, but you can actually also do data ingestion in order to maintain and build your vector embeddings as well. So let me hand it over to Tanner that can explain a little more about how Sumo Logic is using some of these features in Bedrock to deploy the applications.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. So, one thing that you touched on that I thought was really important is the model choice. So, and where that plays in is an impressive thing about how Sumo Logic has built their infrastructure is they've built a really comprehensive validation set, so they can run evals really quick. And with that model selection and with that unified API that Eugene was talking about, it enables them to create um, really comprehensive eval suites and pick the right model for their use case, kind of optimizing, on three pillars, the, performance, latency, cost, and it really allows them to kind of maximize and leverage Bedrock to the full capabilities. Another area that I think is going to be more and more important is Kui and I have started working on integrating knowledge bases into certain parts of their system, and we're doing POCs, and it takes 5 minutes to spin it up and 30 minutes to ingest all of your documentation. So it's really impressive to see how fast that works. But ultimately, what I think is really cool about working with Sumo Logic is how fast you all have adopted some of these Bedrock primitives. And I've seen you all move at a really fast rate because of that, and it's really exciting to see what you've done so far and what you're going to do next.
And Koi, is that one of the reasons why we use Bedrock to build this, like this relationship that we have with AWS?
Absolutely. As you know, Sumo Logic itself was built natively in the cloud, and we start with AWS. AWS been our strategic customer since day one. And then when it's AI things coming along, we've been carefully select what is the right AI infrastructure that we can rely on to build an interesting AI native applications such as Copilot. And the Bedrock come to place for a couple of good reasons. First one, as Eugene highlighted, is bring a variety of model LM choices, model choices, which is fantastic for us application builders. Second is a fully managed service. It's literally, we don't have to spend our cycles to figure out how to host it, how to scale it, how to keep it reliable, how to make it globally accessible. So all these things coming from a managed service part. And the last but not least, very importantly, Bedrock and AWS and Bedrock has the brand of being enterprise trust, privacies, and compliance, has a proven records, proven standards for address our customer concern around security, privacy, and compliance. And yeah, those are the good reasons. And as a AI builders, we would really like to something like a Bedrock service.
And Eugene, does everything that he said rings true? Is that all of our reasoning for this collaboration?
Yeah, I think Kui nailed it. But let me add a little more points. As Kui mentioned, security, trust, and compliance comes first of all. So we always want to make sure that we provide the right safeguards to build your Gen AI applications. And this is not just about Bedrock, but it's one of the most important philosophies at AWS. But I did want to double click on one point that Kui mentioned is around flexible choice of LLMs. So explained we support various different leading models like the popular Anthropic, Sonnet, I explained we support various leading models like the popular Anthropic Sonnet models and also Meta Llama models. And we also have our own first party model, Nova, that I explained. But the landscape is quickly evolving, and the best model today may not be the best model tomorrow. So having flexibility and getting access to different models is going to be absolutely important. In addition to that, getting quickly is also super important. So I'm just going to give an example. So most recently, we probably heard about the DeepSeek models, especially the R1 reasoning models, right? And a couple of weeks ago, we heard about it over a weekend, and by Monday, we had an overwhelming number of customers that wanted access to DeepSeek models through Bedrock. And many customers wanted it through Bedrock because they trust security controls and compliance and all those things that I just explained. But what's pretty impressive of what our engineering team did is that by the end of the week, we provided capabilities to access DeepSeek model through our custom model import capability as well as through Bedrock Marketplace. So in addition to selection, speed really matters here.
It does. And Tanner, for you, you've been on the project for a while. What do you see as the next step or, the future of what we're all building?
Yeah, so I think the next natural evolution of Copilot is to get more and more agentic. So there's a lot of really cool features that we've been launching. Like Eugene said, we've put a lot of work and a lot of new features coming into Bedrock agents, and I'm excited to see Sumo Logic adopt more and more of these extra features we're adding on. And tying back into the natural evolution, we're doing text to Sumo queries today. We're doing a couple other things today, but I think the evolution is that generative AI and this kind of natural generative AI interface gets infused more and more into every single part of their system. And I'm really excited to work alongside you all to make that happen.
Excellent. And so, Eugene, if I could go back to you for one quick question. You're talking about all of these features and everything that's coming out and how quickly we aim to work together. But what do you see as some of the capabilities that are helpful to bring something like this rapidly to the market, especially as we build more Copilot or we want to expand it out?
Yeah, first of all, this really comes to the partnership where we've been working very closely in terms of making sure that Sumo has the right architecture. I talked a little bit about model choice to make sure you have the right model for the right job. In Sumo's case, Sumo started out with the 5 Sonnet models from Anthropic, and this is an awesome model to start with. But not all workloads need these type of rich capabilities. Some workloads a lot more lighter, and Anthropic also has models like Haiku that are much more smaller, lightweight, and provides a wide variety of use cases to support and has better price performance. So as we work together, Having the model choice, the single API also helped Sumo to actually rapidly evaluate different models and making sure they have the right model for those different use cases. We've also worked, very closely on new features as well, and took a lot of input from Sumo to make sure that we can support and launch new features. So one of those is a feature called prompt caching. This is a new feature that we launched at preview at reInvent last year, which provides you with even better latency for repeated type of scenarios. So Sumo is an early adopter of the preview, which now allows to make sure that Sumo is comfortable with that feature. We get their feedback, iterate on top of that, and by the time we go to GA, hopefully we'll have various other different use cases that Sumo can work together with us for a much more faster time to market.
Yeah, so it's a very strong partnerships from the sounds of it. Yes?
Yeah,
We can
very excited, and it's working out very well.
Excellent. So we've been talking about Moco Pilot for a while, so let's see it in action. I'll pass it to you, Kui, to kind of walk us through a demo.
Absolutely. I'm happy to show you a live demos around this.
In this video, we'll learn how you can use Sumo Logic Mo Copilot to diagnose and troubleshoot an application incident. As an on-call engineer, I get a Slack notification regarding high latency for the user service, a critical service for my e-commerce app. Slowness in this service means end users may abandon my app and shop elsewhere. I can start troubleshooting the issue right away using Copilot. Notice that the context is already set to the application logs. Given latency, my first hypothesis is to check for load by simply asking for a visualization of load by microservice. Indeed, load on the user service has spiked recently. Notice how Copilot cleverly added the transpose operator in the generated query and auto-visualized the results. Clearly, user service is experiencing a request spike, but why? By clicking on a contextual suggestion, I can get recent latency stats for all services, including the user service. Next, as I type latency, Copilot suggests latency-related auto-completions. The P95 of latency by service and API reveals that the register endpoint of the user service is slow. To make sure, I can actually add a sort keyword in the natural language query to sort the latency in descending order of latency. Again, the P95 of latency for the register endpoint of the user service is indeed high. This implies that new users are not able to register and I'm losing signups to my app. To verify if recent code deployments are the root cause, I can switch to the change logs for my app and pick a contextual suggestion for app deployments, which shows that there were deployments in the last 3 hours, but not for the user service. This eliminates app deployments as a probable cause. But what else might be causing slowness? Through the conversation history, I resume troubleshooting and application logs. Since I already know that the register endpoint is slow, I type register and pick an autocompletion that analyzes register endpoint load by API status code. This reveals that HTTP 503 errors have spiked, implying that my server is busy. But why? I type 503 and pick an autocompletion that slices HTTP 503 error traffic by IP addresses. This suggestion also checks if any of those traffic sources are malicious users. The generated query contains a threat intelligence lookup by IP address. Indeed, 2 IP addresses are malicious and are trying to bring my app down by overloading it with requests. I can then ask Copilot to pivot to one of those IP addresses to map the malicious user's location. Again, Copilot translated the intent, does a geolookup, and automatically mapped the results. Zooming in, we see the malicious IP is located in Florida. If needed, I can add this panel, like any other panel that you saw in this demo, to a dashboard. To summarize, as an on-call engineer, I conclude that my register API endpoint is a victim of a denial of service attack. My next step would be to block the malicious IP addresses in my firewall and restore my app.
Thank you for that demo, Kui. That looks great. Eugene, Tanner, thoughts, feedback. What do you think of our demo?
Yeah, I actually had a question. Kui, it seems that behind the scenes you're, generating scripts or SQL queries. Are these like automatically generated through the LLMs? Would love to just learn how this is done.
Yeah, good question, Eugene. Yeah, behind the thing, every natural language queries either manually type it in the prompts or being pre-generated on the right-hand side as the suggestions are automatically generated by Gen AI powered by Bedrock LMs. So this is a behind the thing. To make it happen, we also need to be able to leverage our powerful data platform underneath because this has to be grounded into the ground truth, which based on our metadata, based on our domain knowledge. So this is why the secret sauce is behind this kind of a general AI magic.
I
So,
see. So
to answer your question, in the shorter versions, yes, it's automatically generated on the fly. Yeah.
awesome. And it seems like knowledge base is probably like one of the key RAG capabilities that enables you to, augment that, metadata with your LLMs, I guess.
Another great questions in order to provide a better, more accurate, more contextual driven suggestions, we definitely need to leverage the power of knowledge, the domain knowledge, which going to be our next, which going to be the new focus areas for our next generation of Copilot.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tanner, you have anything else?
No, I think more so just an observation. So looking at the demo, it's incredible to see what you all have done so far. And I think it really lays an awesome groundwork for what's next. So you're kind of investigating these things and you're kind of running the show when you're using Copilot. I'd love to see where we are as these LLMs are starting to run more and more of the show themselves. So you can just say what's going on and sooner or later it gives you back a result and you don't have to do anything. You just get your answer. So really cool demo. Really excited to see what's coming next.
And so, Kui, we've shown the product is now out with our customers. What are some feedback that we're getting? How do they feel about Mo Copilot?
Our customers just love it. And we first showcased this as a GA announcement at reInvent last December. And since then, we have seen thousands of customer organizations are actively enable these Copilot features. And through our dashboard, we can see several thousands of active users per day actively using Copilot. And we see a high traffic. And also from the MTTR perspective, as you can see, the demo I just showed you is literally just in a little bit under 5 minutes. Typically, if you, without Copilot, if you have to remember all the questions, all the Sumo logic query syntax, you have to type, you have to fix, you have to memorize, and it will be very time-consuming effort. It can easily go to 30 to 60 minutes at a minimum. So dramatic improvement in terms of productivity. And in the case of a security incidents, that everything is under pressures, and this Copilot assistant AI generated suggestion insight means a lot to those peoples and to our users.
This would have been incredible when I was, on call and trying to debug some of these issues myself. So it's really cool to see this in action.
And in fact, a Copilot team, when we debug our own stuff, we actually already using Copilot, using natural language to try to figure out what's going wrong, what is my next steps, and really also help our own engineering team when we leverage this new AI-enabled features.
Plus one to Tanner's point, I spent a long time on the product and engineering side, and I wish we had these advanced capabilities. It certainly seems like the future for observability.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. This was a great conversation. We have some assets in the link below. If you want to just click on there, you can read about our blog, you can go to our website, you can check out more, and we'll talk to you all later. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, folks.